For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
This, no doubt, is the most monitored broadcast in the world, and it's called NewsSpin. Welcome to another edition of the program with me, Timothy Poleon. We go up until 2 o'clock this afternoon. I'll be hearing from you also at 452-2979. That's 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. That's 716-2026. And Kimani will be going through some of your comments during the course of our program. Coming up, you might be eligible to receive a one-time payment of $1,500 in COVID-19 related income support. And a lot of you, over the last 2 years, you've been clamoring for this. And I'm sure Kimani can attest to this. The comments in the chat room, every other comment, people will be making reference to getting $1,500. The claim that was promised to them by the St. Lucia Labour Party when it was in opposition. Can you remember that, Kimani?
Yes, I can. And I think up to yesterday we had some comments on that as well.
And you got a surprise today. Stumbling upon information from the government of St. Lucia, in particular, the Ministry with Responsibility for Equity.
Yes.
All right, so we'll be going through that in just a moment. And, of course, a whole lot more between now and when we conclude the program. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Minister with Responsibility for Finance, of course a fan of NewsSpin, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, speaking in the island's parliament yesterday during a special sitting which, among other things, sought parliamentary approval to borrow a little over $200 million from the Saudis, and that is to finance the rehabilitation of the St. Jude Hospital and also to carry out some renovation work at the George Odlum Stadium, spoke on a HBI, a hot-button issue, the high cost of living, high cost of food prices in St. Lucia, and also he spoke about a minimum wage, which should be coming into effect, according to him, at least before independence of 2024. So I know that this has been of immense concern to you, the high cost of living in St. Lucia, spiraling food prices, and amidst all that, you continue to experience low wages. What passes for wages in St. Lucia, some people will tell you, is pittance. And again, that's one of the issues that many people on the island, they have been calling on several governments to attend to, either a minimum wage or a livable wage. Something that certainly would enable people at least to meet their basic needs. In the case of the United States, for example, if you're earning $30,000 or less, you are considered to be poor and living a substandard life. I don't know what is the minimum amount of money that somebody would have to live on in St. Lucia for them to be put in that category. Unfortunately, we don't pay attention to those things, but many people exist, they survive on a paycheck to paycheck, not being able to save anything for a rainy day, not being able to have extra savings so that in the case of emergency, they can finance whatever challenges that is confronting them. For example, health challenges or loss of a job and things of that nature. Let us hear from the Prime Minister speaking in the island's parliament yesterday.
What hurts me, all over the world, we have issues with inflation. Inflation last year was 6%. And the central bank of the United States is screaming, the Federal Reserve Bank, that no matter how they try to adjust interest rates, inflation is stubborn. It just is not reducing. You hear in England, inflation. In Barbados, inflation. All over, Mr. Speaker. I don't like it. You think I like to see the cost of goods, the price of goods and services in the supermarket climb like that, Mr. Speaker? I have constituents. We eat at home. So I understand the prices, Mr. Speaker, the prices. But we can't control the cost, Mr. Speaker. So how do we do to control the price? We only can put the goods under price control. And the business people are saying that they think price control is regressive. They think price control is something that we should not do. But Mr. Speaker, we are saying that in the pricing structure, the businesses should take consideration of what is happening to the consumer. That's what we say, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're saying. And we are saying, Mr. Speaker, that in the pricing structure, they must also look at turnover. The turnover, if they're selling more, if there's more activity, Mr. Speaker, if there's more cash flow, they must see how this is reflected in the pricing structure, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, what this government is doing for the Ministry of Labor is, and you know, Mr. Speaker, again, there's so much misinformation. There's something called inflation or stagflation, where the prices continue to spiral, Mr. Speaker. But we understand that because of the increase in prices, the disposable income of the people of this country is getting more difficult and more trying. We understand that. We've taken some measures. We understand that, Mr. Speaker. So the next measure is the Ministry of Labor has been instructed to speak to, and the minister has formed a committee, Mr. Speaker, and I want to assure the Chamber of Commerce and the public of St. Lucia that the findings of that committee will be made public for discussion before it goes into legislation. That's our style, that's how we act, that's what we did in all significant legislation. That's what we did. We didn't go and sign an agreement with DSH in private. all of the major policy initiatives that we've taken, we go into public debate, Mr. Speaker. So, we've got one preliminary report on a minimum livable wage. That report was circulated to the cabinet only and to the cabinet, Mr. Speaker, and this minimum livable wage is being discussed. There has been no decision as yet. The Chamber of Commerce and the public will be involved in the discussion, Mr. Speaker. But hopefully, I hope, Mr. Speaker, that very soon, and possibly before Independence Day next year, we can announce a minimum livable wage for the people of St. Lucia. But several things that have been taken in consideration, Mr. Speaker. In stagflation, how competitive our country will be, how it will affect expansion of business, etc. Several things, Mr. Speaker, be taken into consideration. And this government and the Minister of Commerce and the Minister of Labor are cognizant of these things, and it will take time to do it, Mr. Speaker.
Just heard there from the Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for finance, promising that a livable wage or minimum wage should come into effect at least before Independence Anniversary of next year. So in the meantime, he's asking people to bite the bullet, hold the strain, because he's trying everything that is possible to bring some kind of relief to them. What kind of assurance to the people of this country? But obviously, in instances where governments have no control over inflation, and the Prime Minister made reference to stagflation, which is high inflation and low growth in the economy. Very often, those governments, they adopt a steadfast approach in terms of making those issues a priority. And the citizenry normally would get the impression, at least, that their government is working assiduously to address that particular issue and is not sidetracked by so many other matters that have not little consequence to the citizenry. And if most credible people and people who care about the plight of citizens, they're in a position to be at the helm of any government, and they're saddled with one problem or the other and monumental issues. You have inflation, you have the high cost of living in the country. Crime certainly is a major area of concern. It's a bugbear, it's a challenge which has plagued us over several decades. Where do you get the time to even think about the next general election and say that we are protecting the victory, doing everything to protect the victory? Well, protecting the victory should also involve, would necessitate you addressing the crucial issues that are impacting the electors. In protecting the victory, also think of the electors. Because if you do not impress the electors, if you do not impress the voters, if you do not attend to their problems, you can try to protect the victory all you want, you will not succeed. So, talking about protecting the victory and measures that the government would have to implement to impress the people. Many of you have been clamoring for $1,500. You have been saying you want your $1,500. On what basis? You have been claiming that the St. Lucia Labour Party, whilst in opposition, promised that if it is in government, it would give you a $1,500 payment because of you having lost your job because of the passage of COVID-19. And we've been hearing explanation after explanation from the Prime Minister and operatives of the Senusha Labour Party saying what the Prime Minister said whilst he was the leader of the opposition was Senusha Labour Party administration or government would have given the people of this country $1,500 instead of the $500 that was given by the previous administration. So somebody will tell you it's semantics. But the SLP is correct. The leader of the SLP is correct. The Prime Minister is correct. He said a St. Lucia Labour Party administration would have. Did not say it will. And so, to my surprise, came across this information there because I think they're reacting and responding to those of you who have been adamant in saying you want your $1,500. So this information coming from the Ministry of Equity. Government to roll out yet another post-COVID-19 income support program by the Ministry of Equity dated Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. And Kimani was the one who alerted me to it. It reads, the rollout of the government of St. Lucia's latest income support program 2023 under the safety nets for vulnerable populations affected by the coronavirus project is set to begin. Spearheaded by the Ministry of Equity, the project is financed by the Inter-American Development Bank and administered through the Caribbean Development Bank. The main aim of the income support program is provide much needed financial assistance to households/persons from the informal sector who continue to experience the lingering challenges of COVID-19 but did not benefit from any cash transfer programs. The set criteria take into consideration A, non-NIC contributors who 1, lost their source of income because of COVID-19, or 2, became unemployed or momentarily received no salary because of prolonged illness due to COVID-19, and 3, did not benefit from any previous COVID-19 support program, for example, the Economic Relief Program, ERP, or Income Support Program, ISP, in 2020. B, households applying on behalf of a child, ward, age 12 and under, whose parent or guardian's demise was deemed a COVID-19 death or COVID-19 related death. So for criterion A1, remember criterion A1 is if you lost your source of income because of COVID-19, applicants must upload a letter of redundancy or any other proof of income loss or redundancy due to COVID-19. For criteria A2, and that is became unemployed or momentarily received no salary because of prolonged illness due to COVID-19 and did not benefit from any previous COVID-19 support program, applicants must upload a medical certificate or a letter from a doctor stating illness due to COVID-19. For criterion B, applicants must upload the birth certificate of the child or children and the death certificate of the parent or guardian who died due to COVID-19, as well as means of verification of guardianship or parenthood. Eligible applicants will receive a one-time payment of $1,500 per household. The rollout for the Income Support Program 2023 begins September 13th, that's today, and will run for 6 weeks. So there you have it. Hope you qualify to receive this $1,500 COVID-19 related income support initiative. We open the lines right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Kimani, what is in the chat room?
Someone says not introducing the 2.5% levy would have helped. What was the rush to introduce it before implementing a relief package for at least the lowest paid? More generally, there are those who are better paid yet may not be able to make ends meet. The piecemeal approach isn't the most helpful. Someone is asking, how did they get the money? Did they borrow it? Tim, do you know?
Well, according to that release, the money is coming from the Caribbean Development Bank. The Inter-American Development, it's financed by the Inter-American Development Bank and administered through the Caribbean Development Bank. So it does not say whether it's a loan or a grant.
Someone says, how about the senior citizens who were farmers and got nothing? Another comment, would an increase in wages render an increase in already high prices of goods and services? I would like the finance people to educate us on this. Still, I am not against it. Someone is asking, so why isn't there a salary inflation? Another comment, I remember when Chasney wanted to put the tax for the building of the airport for people that are traveling from and into St. Lucia. They would pay to help build the airport. People were outraged about that, but we are now paying a 2.5% levy that the poorest of the poor have to pay. At least the tax on the airport people that could afford that would pay. SMH, we are in trouble in St. Lucia. Let me see another comment. Someone says, too many requirements. No one will be qualified for that. Income support. Wickedness. Flashing mirrors. Someone says, oh my gosh, what a wow. All that for a 1 month payment of $1,500. What can that do? Please stop pissing the people's eyes. PJP. That's it, Tim.
Thank you so much, Kimani. We'll return to you in just a moment. In the meantime, once again, your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon, Kimani.
Hi, good afternoon.
Tim, as Kimani mentioned that in the email message, what about the money that was collected for the airport tax? You have any idea?
What about it?
That was to support the project, the new terminal that was built by the previous administration. I know there was the first one way before, but I'm referring to the one that was put in there. What about that money? What become of that?
I don't know, caller. Because I know it amounted to several $1 million. And that is, you're talking about the tax that was implemented was discontinued by the SLP administration when they came into office the last time around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what has happened to that money.
But these are things we need to know, Tim. These are questions we need to ask on finances. Because we travel with a departure tax, and we didn't have a problem. Not even foreigners had a problem with that tax paid to facilitate a brand new airport. So if the government in question, the previous administration, they were demoted from office, this one came, we not hearing nothing about that tax. And that's not the first time there have been taxed to facilitate the airport, and it has been stopped. There was the last time, I don't know what figures, I was told it was 19 million there, but that was already collected. But up to now, nobody knows those monies, and these are serious. If people are paying the departure tax and you got that money, I find that money should be returned back to the people. Am I right?
Well, that's a question you'll have to pose to the island's finance minister, sir.
No, I'm just asking for curiosity. I mean, if that is important, both on sea and seaport and airport.
You sound like crazy for curiosity, huh?
No, but these are things people, there are a lot of things that we need to know, We cannot just leave it there and say, okay, all right, we don't have control of it. We just pay the tax, the extra tax at the departure tax at the airport. We have no control and let it be. These are important questions because if we don't ask them and get an answer for this, you know what, that can be a recipe for, for problems in the near future. Anyway, I heard the Prime Minister. It is all good for those who are qualified under $1,500. Fair enough, at least it will give a little break, but not for too long because the price of goods are really gearing up. Can you imagine? I buy 2 Advil gel in a community next to me. I don't want to mention the place. And $6 Tim for just 1 Advil gel. Can you imagine? And something at least you can get at Massey, $1.50 or $2 for one. So you see how everybody just put in the price. That is where I mean, the price control should be passed in those places and find out how much.
Well, let's put it this way, Caller. Our price control department has not been effective for a very long time. It has been in a dysfunctional state. In some instances, like most of the government departments, it has been understaffed. So it is not really functioning at its optimum. It has not been functioning at that level for a very long time now. So I can imagine issues relating to price gouging. This would have exacerbated, particularly in recent years.
And then briefly, Tim, well, the PM mentioned about before independence or next year independence. I mean, let's wait and see about the minimum wage bill, how it will be. Tim, I think you saw the incident in Mikud on DBS. You could see it was really poor handle by the police. Had the police, probably the guy who made the report at the station remain in the station for when the vehicle will be around, probably he would have been alive today. You could see that was really poor on the part of the police. The police need to take some blame on that.
Yeah, poorly handled.
Very poorly, very poor. Tim, if you know that station well and the bus stop, Tim, that if you were to measure that with a measuring tape, that is just about 150 feet close to the police station, at the mouth of the police station. And the guy eventually report his own self, close to the police station. I told you the last time, and that will be the first time I have said it. Those persons that are at the station or the manpower, it is just clearly not enough. I told you that police station have to cover 2 constituencies with just 4 or 5 persons working in that station. And that is serious. I think Poleon, the new commissioner, should look after that. The Mikud guys have too many areas to cover with 4 persons and 1 vehicle. You can go there now and see sometimes one lady sitting behind the desk, almost, barely could not take a report from you, waiting so the other person are not there, or the inspector, sergeant, whatever, it's not there. So you might have to come back or wait. I mean, this is really poor in 2023 when we have crime almost everywhere in the constituency. That was poorly. I know the gentleman very well. I know the brother. I saw him on the news. That was poorly in the States. I can tell you if America something happened like that, that officer would look for another job, That is just unaccepted in 2023. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Normally, you use the word unacceptable, but normally the word that most of our leaders would use in such instances is unfortunate. Never to take matters into your own hands, be a law-abiding citizen. So you go to the police, you seek the intervention of law enforcement personnel, and you are told to return to the area where the threat was made against you, and the police will be responding within a particular time frame, only to lose your life in the process. Now, that matter will be investigated. What will come out of it? I mean, most of us, I'm sure, we can assume that absolutely nothing will come out of it. No one will be reprimanded. Far less will be disciplined. And the police in St. Lucia, they tend to be very lax when you make reports of threats being made on your life. And they see it as nothing, nothing serious. If you were to tell them that, they stumbled upon quantity of drugs and marijuana, container of drugs, etc., you have fleet of vehicles heading to that particular scene, dozens of police officers, all fully armed, conducting investigations, etc. So things like complaints, those are not seen as serious. They're not given any kind of priority. And definitely based on what occurred over in Miku on Friday afternoon, should certainly signal to the police that they have to be proactive. Stop reacting, because now you have family members who have lost a relative. And that is very painful, and it could have been avoided. You're watching NewsSpin on our NewsSpin Facebook page. We are also on YouTube. You're listening to the broadcast also on Power 97.9 FM. Alternative Security Services. Well, they have a Get Hired on the Spot initiative, September 14th and the 15th, 9 a.m. until 3 a.m. You have to visit the Castries City Town Hall, and particularly if you are aged between 20 and 50, of sound mind and body, and you must be able to read and write, please walk with your valid ID. And there's be an application and interview process that will be taking place at that particular exercise by Alternative Security Services Limited, September 14th and the 15th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Castries City Council Town Hall.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to Streetlight reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
Mom, is it Thursday yet?
KFC is taking you on a finger-licking journey down memory lane with our delicious throwback special. A mouth-watering leg and thigh combo with regular fries and a 16-ounce soda for only $15. That remind me of the good old days, boy. Available every Thursday.
If you get what you want tonight, will you remember me tomorrow?
But wait, the thrill doesn't stop there.
Not about done.
Tune in on Thursdays to win vouchers and stages tickets. Picture yourself before when this delicious throwback combo and the chance to attend the biggest throwback party. KFC has been serving up smiles and memories for generations, and now it's time to celebrate those good times together. So, gather your friends and family, call auntie, granny, cousin, nene, and head over to KFC every Throwback Thursday. This limited offer is available in stores only. KFC, finger licking good.
So fast pay, a new and easy way to pay. So fast pay, so fast pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
So fast pay, 2 minutes and you're on your way. So fast pay, so fast pay.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Automotive Art is now bigger and better with bargains galore. Automotive Art has expanded. With new exciting products and increased shopping comfort, we welcome you to visit. Celebrate with us and take advantage of our specials. New tires starting at $129, 25% off all tools and accessories, up to 75% off rims, BOGO specials, car care bundles, and other bargains galore. Automotive Art, bigger and better.
Get ready for the second annual Zouk a Blanc, presented to you by Project Chocolat, Saturday 30th September from 7 p.m. featuring St. Lucia's #1 band, DYP. The always exciting Ezra, the Fun Machine, and our finest DJ, Hollywood HP, and DJ Shocking. Savor an evening of elegance, souk, and old school rhythms in the heart of Soufre at Project Chocolat. Secure your tickets for just $80. Grab yours at any sell outlets island-wide or at Mambo's Bar in Soufre. Tickets are also available online. Zouk a Blanc, a touch of white, where island vibes and cuisine meets pure sophistication.
Admission $100 at the door.
The most monitored talk show in the world. This is NewsSpin. Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Kimani, what's in the chat room?
Someone says, Tim, do not prejudice the investigation. Wait until the investigation is completed. Another comment, the young lady that was murdered in Dennery made numerous reports and nothing was done until she was killed by the hands of the boyfriend she reported countless times. What really is the role of the police? Another comment, wow, this criteria is being shared after the fact. What measures will be taken if individuals do not have the document proving their circumstances? In the chat room, someone is asking about the ambulance which crashed into the houses. Has an investigation been launched?
Yeah, I think we heard that it would have been investigated. We're going to assume that they're still investigating. There certainly should have been a follow-up by NewsSpin to find out, for example, the plight of the gentleman and his family, those people whose home was damaged as a result of that ambulance crashing into the house over in Dennery. You can only imagine what the family went through on that particular evening, in terms of finding a resting place at a friend or family, and you could never be as comfortable at anyone's home as you being at your own home, in the comfort of your own home. So one can only assume that the authorities, considering a vehicle that's owned by the government of St. Lucia, that certainly they would have attended to the plight of this family. And there's hoping that some form of restitution have been provided to them and the house can be repaired as soon as possible.
That's it.
All right, thank you so much. Your calls, once again, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Why will it take so long to enact a minimum or livable wage? So it will take until Independence 2024 to enact a wage rate, and thousands of private sector workers are earning $3 to $5 EC dollars an hour. Another WhatsApp message while we await your calls. How much is Alternative Security paying per hour? I'm not working for $5 an hour. If I know the pay, maybe I can come to the interview. Well, you should avail yourself of the opportunity to be interviewed, and it is during that particular activity, that process, that you ask the question, so how much are you paying an hour. And I will not settle for less than $6 or maybe $7 an hour, because that's what the interview process is all about. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. How you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, you're correct. Your talk show, NewsSpin, is the most listened to and most monitored talk show in St. Lucia.
I don't know about most listened to, but I know about the most monitored.
It is the most monitored, and you're indeed correct, because I don't know if you are aware that you were the subject of discussion on another talk show this morning, where a government minister said that you have to be careful because he has your file. So, and that I can say it boldly because it was a public statement. That government minister is Richard Frederick. He said, Timothy Poleon, I don't know how you were the subject of the discussion on that particular morning talk show.
Yeah, but caller, the program is always the subject of discussion. The program is always the subject of discussion on so many other programs or talk shows in St. Lucia. Yeah.
I know.
That's commonplace.
You see, NewsSpin, without blowing your trumpet, and it's a fact. NewsSpin is the number one lunchtime talk show in St. Lucia. And rather than this government minister profit the opportunity to tell St. Lucians what are his government's plans, that is the Labour Party, as to remedying so many issues: high cost of living, high unemployment, the crime situation which is creating havoc in the country. Timothy Poleon was the subject of discussion, and that he's saying that you ought to be careful because he has your files. Now the question is, what files are he's talking about or he's referring to? So I don't know if you're aware, if you can get hold of that clip, Tim, but it was said publicly.
Yeah, I mean, callers, many people alerted me to this, and since I watched a part of the program, I heard the comment, and I mean, to me, that's of little consequence at all.
Because you see, it is a pattern of behavior of members of the St. Lucia Labour Party to attack people when they oppose them or where they critique them, give them constructive criticism. You remember a few years back, when you were under vicious attack by Kenyans and where he called you a media terrorist. That is the modus operandi of members of the St. Lucia Labour Party, inclusive of the operatives, that when you criticize their party, they go after you personally. Rather than stick to the issues or discuss the issues, they go after you in the most vile way. So, Tim, I just want to encourage you. I know you in this media thing for a long time. You've been 2-time Journalist of the Year. You know how to handle yourself. I'm not going to defend you. But I just think it was necessary to draw that to attention. And it's a worrying thing. It's a trend by the Labour Party, including the Prime Minister, where they go after people viciously because they critique them. Have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you so much. You know, on this program, we don't get involved in ad hominem attacks, where we just focus on irrelevantly on people and, try to focus on people's character and so on, and dirty linen, etc. In particular, yesterday, we did focus on the facts and the events surrounding the housing minister and the disclosure made by the Prime Minister that his diplomatic visa was renewed or given to him by the Americans. And there is a context to this. And we had to go back to 2011 and to say exactly what transpired at the time. This is not a UWP, SLP thing, but when you have to delve into what transpired, according to the MP himself, why he lost his personal and diplomatic visas is because of, what was said apparently to the Americans about him, allegations that were made, and up to this day, he has been very consistent in denying a lot of those allegations that were made by operatives of the St. Lucia Labour Party. So is that an issue that I should have ignored? No. It's an issue that should be analyzed. And also I concluded yesterday by saying it's the same St. Lucia Labour Party which caused him to lose his visa. It's the same SLP that's caused him to get it back. And for me, and I quoted Professor Hilary Beckles, that was as pure class on the part of the MP for Castries Central. So the whole Mapwe thing, the name calling, the ad hominem attacks, this broadcast has never been about that. And believe you me, I will never delve into that kind of attitude and exhibit that kind of behavior because it is totally unwarranted. I know of no one on this planet of at least 8 billion people who can consider themselves to be perfect. Some people have skeletons in their closet. Other people have human beings in their closet. Some people are indecent and other people are decent. That's basically what it is. We have a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. Let's take a WhatsApp call as we say hello. Good afternoon to you. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, St. Lucia.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, let me ask you a question. Thank you. Tim, have you heard anything about the special prosecutor? When is the special prosecutor starting work?
I don't know when that individual will take office, but what I heard, I think there's some issue that is preventing that person from taking up his or her post.
Do you know who got? But you're saying the position is filled.
Beg your pardon?
Are you saying that the position is filled?
I spoke with someone and I just could not elicit any kind of clear information from them. Only that there are certain things that are holding back the appointment and for that person to take up his or her position.
Well, I applied for the position.
Oh, you did?
I did, and I got a response from the Judicial and Legal Services Commission about almost a month ago.
Okay, what was, if you don't mind, since you say that you applied, what was the response? That you got it?
The response was the position, the position has been filled. That
Okay.
was the response.
All right.
So if the position has been filled, why is it taking so long for that person to start? Because if you're talking about a special prosecutor, you're talking about timelines. You're talking about looking at situations before the time expires on it. So I'm asking myself, are they waiting so the statutes of limitations run out on everything that we were told had happened? And then both sides get protected? I don't understand what's going on. Somebody got the position. Let the person start already because you've hired somebody, unless they had not really hired someone and said that they did.
And the tenure of that person, the tenure of the office for what? For 4 years, right?
I believe it's 2 years. Isn't it 2 years?
No, I think the last time I heard it, I think
Is
it's
it
4
4?
years. It's 4 years, yes.
Okay, 4 years would make more sense because at least you'd be there during an entire administration. So right now, as it stands, somebody has already been appointed, so that 4 years is now being counted, and no work is yet being done. If they're appointed, have they started to be paid? I mean, the country needs answers to lots of questions, and I want to say to the government that a hospital with a lot of small buildings is really not a very good idea. And perhaps they really do need to rethink what they're going to do with that $281 million.
A little over 201, not 281, 201 million.
No,
EC.
Did you listen to Parliament yesterday?
What I said? Because I know the loan is for a little over $201 million. The loan, 75 US
the
million.
Loan is.
Go ahead.
The loan I understood was 76 million US, right? Which would have been 205.
Well, the Prime Minister said at the signing of the loan agreement, that it was 75 million US dollars, not 76, 75.
Okay. Let's say 75 million. But when they went into Parliament yesterday, the amount was not 201. It was either 281 or 261. I have it written down somewhere, but it's not in front of me at the moment. Because I wrote in the chat at the parliamentary sitting, the amount went up. How come? What's happening with the balance? So it's not that same amount that they sought yesterday. We sought a little more than the 201 that we had been quoted.
It might have been an error, but I know. Let's stick to the US. It's 75 million US dollars.
Okay, well, they didn't say it in US. They said it in EC dollars.
Okay.
But we need to know exactly what they're going to do with that, because all of those small buildings were hospital. My issue with the small buildings is the windows, the very tiny little windows. It's not a jail, it's not a prison, it's a hospital. You need to have light come into the rooms where patients are. You know, there are a lot of issues with that they really need to take seriously. And when you're talking about consultants, I think that's a situation where an outside consultant would be the best, as opposed to the local engineers that we're hiring for this, because it's just so politically divided. But before we even talk about a hospital, Timothy, we need training for our doctors and our nurses at the emergency departments at the hospitals. We talk about a state-of-the-art building, and we talk about having a helipad and helicopters being able to land. Do you know a helicopter is absolutely useless to us if someone who needs emergency care goes to OKEU and we don't have the resources, the equipment to stabilize that person, because you cannot get on a helicopter unless you're stabilized. And we seem to have an issue with stabilizing people. And we need to ensure that we put some money into the training. That very first responder situation, we have an issue with that. That's why people are dying so much in St. Lucia, so quickly, so easily. Okay, a hospital is a building. The military have hospitals in tents all the time. So it's not about the building. It's about the care and the treatment that you get. It's about having personnel that have the ability to handle, emergency situations. It's about having the equipment that you need. And if you don't have any of that, no state-of-the-art building is going to make a difference. No helipad is going to make a difference, because you're going to die before you get on that helicopter to go anywhere. And the helicopter will not accept the liability for you if you're not stabilized before they put you on that helicopter. So we have bigger issues than a building. Much, much bigger issues. People are dying far too much. The backup for burial right now is all the way to October. We're just in the middle of September. Why so much death? I asked myself the other day, I said, well, you know what? We have people in partnership with the undertakers or what? Because the undertakers are making the most money in St. Lucia right now. Funeral homes are making all the money, because all you have is death. Death after death after death. And you tell me you're concerned about the people. Come on. It's about time. But the people, you guys have to be the ones to insist that you want a change, that you want not just a change so you have state-of-the-art of everything, because we don't have state-of-the-art money. We get a state-of-the-art hospital, a state-of-the-art airport. All it's going to do is become a derelict, because we're not going to have state-of-the-art money for the upkeep. LaGuardia is not state-of-the-art, and this is big old New York City. Why is it that we keep telling the people all of these, things that make them think somehow we're going to be a first world country? To be a first world country, you have to have first world income. And you don't first world revenue, and you don't have revenue because nobody is working. If nobody is working, where's the tax dollar coming from? We keep putting the cart before the horse. Get the people to work. Have people who can pay some income tax, who can raise some revenue for you. Stop talking about state-of-the-art this and that, because it means you're going to have to borrow. And when you borrow, the people have to pay, but the people won't be able to pay because they have no jobs. Invest in the businesses that we have now. Help the businesses to grow. If the businesses grow, they can hire more people. I know some people are going to call it feed the rich and the rich will turn around and help the poor. But when we're talking about businesses, that's the way it works. If they can't keep people on because they can't meet their overhead, then we're in trouble. We need to start with the current businesses that we have and allow Caribbean metals to be truly Caribbean metals all over the Caribbean. So we have people hired. Allow the smaller ones to grow. The banks need to revisit the way they give loans to people. You know, we can't only have little ticky-tack mom and pop shops that does not grow the economy. Allow people with big ideas who can take the loans and pay them back. Allow them an opportunity to assist in making this country grow. Okay, and stop the whole state of the art thing. Yes, it's beautiful, we love it, but we cannot afford it. What we can afford to do is put people to work, because Timothy, the people do not ask for much. A nice little house, cable, internet, a little computer that they can go on so they can keep up with the rest of the world, the ability to feed their children, give them school books and school shoes. That is not an awful lot. And the amount of money that we spend in St. Lucia, we should be able to do that for the people. And that would be putting the people first. That would, in fact, be putting the people first, because we did not grow up with much and we made it okay. I'm not saying leave people in little shacks. Give the people decent homes. They got a little car, one little car in the family, so they can go to the beach on a Sunday afternoon. It's a little island. We're not trying to be Miami. We're not interested in being Miami. Miami comes at a cost that we don't have. And if we give them Miami, we're taking everything that they make away from them to pay for Miami. We have to start to understand these things. We really do, and until and unless we understand these things, it's not going to get better. All these young fellas on the block, I keep saying, they don't want to die, but they're at the point now where there is no choice. They're in the throes of the gangs right now, and to get out is death. So how do we help them get out? They are at a loss as well. Their parents are at a loss, but who is taking it seriously? Government has done absolutely nothing to this point that tells me they're working on a solution. We can't throw our hands up in the air and say, no, we can't do anything. Come on. You know, I've taken up a lot of your time, and I appreciate the time.
But before you go, let me tell you, there's a little bit of schadenfreude that's taking place in the chat room, because somebody says that people like Nigel Tuchens should never be considered for such positions. I'm supporting PJP on that one. The fact that he did not get the special prosecutor job.
Well, that's somebody who knows absolutely nothing about me, because I guarantee you I was probably the best person for that. So that person knows absolutely nothing about me, and that's probably why they would say what they say. See, Timothy, often in St. Lucia, we don't know what's good for us, you know. We don't. The things we think are good for us are not. You know, that same person will tell you, Shaz, bring Shaz back, bring Shaz back, and I will tell you, from now till the dogs come home, till the sheep come home, till the cattle come home, that's not where we need to go. That is not where we need to go. And if you know people, if you study people, if you understand how things work in the world, you will know that the vision that Alan has, or everybody tells you he has, is not good vision. Let me give you an example. Someone with good vision would have taken $32 million and built some grass fields. In the process, they would have developed a new industry for our young people called landscaping.
But Mr. Hussein, we're not talking about Alan Shanston. The person was taking you to dust. The person was speaking about you. So I don't know why you're making I don't know why you're making reference to Alan Shanston.
No, I made that reference. You didn't get the connection. The connection was sometimes we don't know what's good for us. Okay, and I used him as an example because that same person believes he is good for us. Okay, they don't know what's good for us. We don't know what's good for us because we do not understand the issues. If we understood the issues and if we looked at them critically, we would be able to discern who is the right candidate for certain things, who we should elect, who we should not elect, who should be sitting in a seat, who should not be sitting in certain seats, but we don't give ourselves that opportunity to discern who can and who can't, who will and who will not. That was the point.
Okay.
So it wasn't about Alan per se.
I just wanted you to correct, to make the connection. I didn't understand the nexus.
Okay. All right. So
All right.
now I hope I assisted in that.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
calling. Just heard there from former St. Lucia Magistrate, Miss Nigel Toussaint. You're watching NewsSpin on our NewsSpin Facebook page. We are also on YouTube, listening to us on Power 97.9 FM. Rick Wynn said something yesterday. Something about an apology and reparation. Stay with us.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbute at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
In the event of a thunderstorm, unplug all electrical appliances and equipment. Lightning can produce high voltages on electrical networks, which can damage equipment. Have flashlights, battery-powered radios, and extra fresh batteries available in the event of power outages.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of caring.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
KFC is taking you on a finger-licking journey down memory lane with our delicious throwback special. A mouth-watering leg and thigh combo with regular fries and a 16-ounce soda for only $15. That remind me of the good old days, boy. Available every Thursday. But wait, the thrill doesn't stop there. Tune in on Thursdays to win vouchers and stages tickets. Limited offers available in stores only. KFC, finger-licking good.
The new home of the best country music is Power 97.9 FM.
Say the stars are bound to fade.
Switch us on Join Me, DJ Jerry, this and every Thursday from 8 p.m. till midnight for Country Gold, the best in country music.
Your bags are packed and waiting.
The new, the oldies, and the goldies. So let's make it a date. This and every Thursday with me, DJ Jerry, from 8 p.m. till midnight for Country Gold. If it's Thursday, it's Country Gold Thursday. Country Gold, only on Power 97.9 FM.
I lead a rich, rewarding life.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
After a 3-year hiatus due to restrictions of COVID-19, the Sufra Fitness Center presents Fun Strikes 2023, our annual fan, health and fitness walk for the entire family. On Monday, October 2nd, starting at 5 a.m., we walk from the Sufra waterfront to Myers Bridge through Force Jack and back down to the Sufra Beach Park. Of course, the music motivation truck will keep you going and going. A $35 registration gives you a quality Drip Fit t-shirt, drinks, fruits, fresh coconuts, breakfast, and a chance to win big. What are you waiting for? Register, stat, and finish to win over $10,000 worth of cash and raffle prizes. Register at the Sufra Fitness Center and other pop-up locations. Bring the entire family. Fun Strides 2023.
The most monitored talk show in the world. It's called NewsSpin. Thank you so much for staying with us as we continue with your calls and WhatsApp messages. Let's hear from Rick Rain, a comment that he made yesterday during the broadcast.
If Richard turns out everything he said in the first place turns out to be true, and that he went through those 11 years of persecution on falsehoods, and now has been cleared by the restoration of those visas. I'm being very careful. If all of that is established, to my mind, the man is in need of an apology from the government in the name of St. Lucia.
You are correct. Because Rick, any mere mortal could have committed suicide under such circumstances.
Now you're getting me. Now you're getting me. Imagine not being able to visit your kids overseas.
Not even that for me. Not even that for me. But the embarrassment, the national embarrassment that you were subjected to.
Yeah, all of that. But I'm going on a more personal type. I am saying again. Let me say, if it turns out that what Richard Frederick claimed from the very beginning, that he was framed by a number of people that he named. And if it turns out that the American government, after 11 years, agree with Richard Frederick that he was framed and restored his visa on that basis, then I think the government of St. Lucia, in the name of St. Lucia, owes Richard Frederick a public apology with explanation to the people.
Contribution made yesterday during NewsSpin by Rick Wayne. WhatsApp message, somebody says, I agree with much of what Ms. Toussaint said. We have to be realistic with our developmental expectations. We build too many white elephants that cost too much to build and even more to maintain. With healthcare, we need improved training and mentoring for our doctors and nurses and the appropriate equipment with maintenance plans. Not huge edifices that look nice but we can't maintain. I still long to see the day we have pragmatic but yet visionary leaders. Where is our long-term strategic development plan? I think we have a call on 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Timothy. Good afternoon, St. Lucia.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Pastor Ben.
Good to hear you. Good to have you again on NewsSpin, opening the lines for us. I was thinking of the statement I heard a while ago that people don't always know what's best for them. I recall when Jesus was before Pilate, and I'm going down the line of history. Jesus is before Pilate, and according to the laws of the Romans, one must be given in death for the liberty of the people. And they agreed, give us Barabbas, and crucify this Jesus. So it looks like it's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. You could want a murderer, a criminal, instead of a righteous man. It's really a historical data that people don't really seem to know what is best for them, and it's just nothing new under the sun. I attribute that also to Operation Rescue St. Lucia from crime and violence. You were at the initial opening with me on the 7th of March when I explained my vision for St. Lucia to include, and I repeat, include a spiritual dimension in fighting crimes and violence in the country. I have tried hard to say to our nation, to our government, and I remember Shelton Daniel asking me, Pastor Ben, are they hearing you? I said, I don't think people are hearing yet. So thanks for NewsSpin. I will continue until the message is heard. I remember continuing to say, let us include the hand of the Lord, a divine aspect in fighting crimes and violence. Because the criminal elements in our country are not only social, they are not only economical, they are not only because some people are marginalized, it is also because people are lacking Jesus Christ of Nazareth in their lives. The Bible makes it clear that Satan entered Judas to betray the Son of God. And I'm saying that a number of the crimes that are committed are also influenced by evil, by sinful behavior. The Bible puts it this way, Tim, that the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. You hear somebody saying, the heart must be changed. So I am saying, let us include a spiritual component. Take it from me. I am on the ground going. We just completed Operation Righteous St. Lucia Phase 3 in Dennery. And it is interesting, Tim, that whenever there's a major crime, like we had one in Mikud recently, our talk shows are on, our people, it's a talk all over. And this divine aspect, I would be happy if one or two stations would call and say, Pastor Ben, did you have that thing in Dennery? How did that thing go? Let the St. Lucian public show. We are interested in what you're doing. And I am really concerned about whether we are really blah, 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 sensationalizing crime, and whenever something happens, everybody runs and jumps, or are we really serious about dealing with that demon, the monster, in all aspects? I need to make a correction, team, on that before I announce Phase 4. It has been brought to my attention that some of the listeners think Pastor Ben is saying, tie your waist. And I like that term from Rick Wayne. Tie your waist, marry a woman, let God take over. That's not what I am saying. I am not saying praise is the ultimate end to crime and violence. People go, hey, Pastor Ben say, let's have a spiritual war against crime. And look, they kill a fella in Miku. I did not say prayers will stop crimes, and prayers will not stop crime. Let's get it clear. I know the forces of evil we are fighting, which is Satan, demons, evil heart, wicked heart. To me, the next time I call, I will speak about a young man that I knew who would have been registered in St. Lucia as a notable criminal, a murderer. So I hope I could get that done when I complete Phase 4. But
so let's get into Phase 4. What is the Phase 4 of your program?
Phase 4, Operation Phase 4, we're heading for Soufriere. So let me say good afternoon to Soufriere, and let me hope that the people of prominence, the district representative, the clubs, the leading people would listen and come together with me and see and hear what I am saying. I had a bit of support, very minimal in Dennery, thanks to the Honorable Alfred Prosper. He listened to me, we spoke, And he made an input, and that was interesting. Also, I had a brief talk with the other rep. So I'm asking the people of Sufria, get ready. Timothy, I am going to keep pushing. There is a spiritual element to crimes and violence in our country, and with all the legislations we are putting, with all the laws and all the efforts the government is putting, let us include a spiritual component, and that's what I'm going for. So Sufria will be next month, God's willing.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Just heard there from Pastor Ben. Thank you so much for calling. Somebody says that, Tim, the call is mistaken. The Prime Minister said 281 million Saudi Riyal, which is equivalent to 75 million US dollars. Let's see if we have some more of your WhatsApp messages while we are waiting your calls once again at 452-2979. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
A pleasant good afternoon to you and your listeners all over the world. PW on the line, Timothy.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Timothy, you know, I listened to Miss Tussauds, and somebody asked her a question that you read, Timothy, and she was reluctant to answer the question. Right away, she dived into, you know, Alan Chastney, Timothy. You know, I can see the glass. I can see how clear these people think, Timothy. You know, she sent an application, you know, so she don't want to mess it up by criticizing this government. She comes out to sugarcoat by the blocks, the St. Jude Hospital, the number of blocks. The government should reconsider that. Tell Miss, I would like to inform Miss Tussauds, listen, don't play it as double standards. Don't play it as double standards. Don't attack the best prime minister that St. Lucia has ever had after John Compton, which was Alan Chastney. Timothy, there's nothing to celebrate. When the government borrows $75 million for the St. Jude Hospital, Timothy, there's nothing to celebrate. And I can tell you, the government information website is a propaganda machine filled with convoluted statements, you know, about the St. Jude Hospital by the government of the St. Lucia Labour Party. I watched Mr. Philip J. Pierre doing a site inspection on September 6th at the St. Jude Hospital. You understand? And he comes in, he talks to the engineer, are we going to get this hospital? And the engineer says, yes, we'll get this hospital. And it, you know, and he's actually joking. You know, it's like he's making a mockery out of the hospital that they did not finish when they were in office under the Kenny Anthony administration. You know, here comes Silas Wilson. You know, I don't know if he was the engineer or actually he was a consultant. So Silas Wilson comes and he's just murmuring when he says about the completion of the hospital, Timothy. Up to now, you understand, singing from the same hymn book like Philip J. Pierre, Silas Wilson. And here comes Virginia Albert. This hospital is going to be a state-of-the-art hospital, Timothy. The St. Jude Hospital is quarter of a mile of CDC blocks. This is going to be a state-of-the-art hospital. Virginia Albert reminds me of this gentleman that went along and he says that we're going to have a dialysis center. You understand? Joe Farley will give us a dialysis center. This is what Virginia Albert sounds like by telling us we will get a state-of-the-art hospital. And Timothy, you know and I know we will never get a state-of-the-art hospital with a quarter mile of CDC blocks, Timothy. And here comes Stephenson King. Here comes Stephenson King. He looks up into the sky, first of all. He looks at the altocumulus clouds, cumulus and nimbostratus clouds before he starts speaking. He doesn't know why the last government did not finish up the hospital, where he was a part of the last government, and he doesn't know the reason why. Stevenson King, you need to account for the money that St. Lucians donated to the St. Jude Hospital that's their personal money. This is the personal money. And when there is an independent investigation into the St. Jude Hospital and a proper accounting of the St. Jude Hospital, then I will celebrate Timothy. There is nothing to celebrate about the St. Jude Hospital until it's completed, until people like Stevenson King, Alvina Reynolds, and the whole lot account for the monies that we have spent at the St. Jude Hospital. Timothy, I thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Somebody says via WhatsApp, why is it the government of St. Lucia keeps on censoring all the comments of the opposition supporters? Tim, with no obscenity posed on this page, what would cause the government of St. Lucia to behave this way? I've never witnessed this taking place in St. Lucia before. It is just sad, and the moderator dropped a comment, and the supporters of the government are loving and liking this comment from the moderator. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, okay, I don't think could go through this one. Another one says, don't you realize that this administration just saying different things to get to us to focus on non-issues? Every time they feel the pressure from the real issues, they create a diversion. And let's see, some more of your WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, your caller talking about the state of the art obviously does not understand economic development. Another WhatsApp message. Somebody says, good afternoon. The Prime Minister said that he made an approach to the U.S. Embassy with regard to the reinstatement of the minister's U.S. diplomatic visa. Has he made any effort to approach the U.S. government with regard to the Leahy law, which is still affecting the functions of our police force? Well, I cannot recall the Prime Minister saying that he made an approach to the U.S. Embassy. I don't know if he made a statement in Parliament, but based on what we played yesterday during our NewsSpin program, I don't think he ever made reference to contacting the U.S. Embassy on behalf of anyone regarding the reinstatement of the U.S. visa. All right, what's happening in the chat room, Kimani?
Someone says, y'all better listen to Pastor Ben because you need Jesus. You all need Jesus in St. Lucia. Another comment, Mr. Ben, the heart is just a pump. Its job is to circulate blood. The mind, on the other hand, is where all the bad thoughts and actions reside. Another comment, the hospital is built with a view to service the region and not just St. Lucia. Myopic thinking and short-sightedness. Someone says, what about the national embarrassment RF subjects innocent individuals on a weekly basis on his show? Why is Rick Wayne not asking RF to issue national apologies to them? So much nonsense from Rick. Someone says, we need to see a written decision from the American State Department before we break out the champagne on this visa issue. Someone says, wow, this criteria is being... Oh, wait, I think I have read this comment. Let's see. So what's good for us is to remain with the status quo, I think referring to the contribution by Nigel Tusa. Someone says the National Workers Union. What's next? Gods are waiting. In the chat room, someone says the moderator is moving it. Don't worry, God is watching them. St. Lucia belongs to both UWP and SLPs. That's it.
Let's take a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim.
Hi, good afternoon, Rick.
Especially since your show seems to have, according to you, acquired a new tag.
The most monitored talk show in the world.
Yeah, so one has to be very careful what you said in one's name and what one says. So the first thing I want to say is that Pastor Ben was over charitable to me when he said that it was my line that tie your waist and pray. You know who that was. I'm sure you do. That's Sarah Clark.
Yeah.
Tie your waist and pray. That was not Rick Wayne. Okay? Rick Wayne doesn't go into this. Another thing. Tim, you remember not so long ago, a few years ago, it was a regular thing of trucks, heavy motors crashing into houses back at the government house.
Yes, on the moon.
Mm-hmm. You remember that?
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why the Millennium Highway was constructed.
All right. Okay, so in fact, I had even forgotten the real, because it stopped, and I had even forgotten. So
Yeah, that's what the
you have a lot of listeners who need to know these little lessons about their own history, and despite the dislike for history and looking in the mirror, we hate that. Tell me, do you have a rough idea what authoritarian means? And if you don't, I will give you.
Basically, it means that you're ruling without any kind of opposition. You don't like opposition at all. You just basically you want things to be your way all the time.
All right, so let's go to the dictionary. You're there, but I just want to endorse what you're saying further. Favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom. Meaning, if you don't, you pay the price of your freedom. Okay? Now, when you consider, Tim, that we call ourselves a democracy and democratic, right?
Yeah.
But you realize how different our democracy is in terms of politics. Considering democracy, what is democracy in England, the UK? What is democracy in all over Europe, well, most of Europe? And what is democracy in the United States?
Yeah.
You have people cross-partying. They don't have to cross the floor, but they can disagree with their own party openly. If the president wants a member of his party to support him, he has to go and canvass them. It's not automatic, right?
And without fear of any kind of retribution.
No retribution. Now, no party, no member of the government party will dare to oppose something the government has proposed.
What, in the case of St. Lucia?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Good. The one time somebody tried it, and it was more in terms of morality and religious beliefs. I'm not putting it down, rather than things really meaningful to the population, like jobs and so on and so on. That was at the time of
Sarah Flood.
And even there, Sarah Flood paid the price, right?
She did, yeah.
Because, you might remember what the Prime Minister said, that he did say she was free to speak her mind, but she went too far. Did you get that?
I remember Dr. Anthony saying that, yes.
In other words,
there's a limit.
There's a limit to the freedom, and Kenny Anthony decided what that limit was. If that is not autocratic, I don't know what is. So, Tim, isn't it a fact that every government proposition is guaranteed to pass?
Yes, it is. It's just a mere formality, going to the House.
I want people to concentrate on those things, and we have had we have had the authority, the leeway, the right to amend our Constitution and change things, those kind of things I'm talking about. We have had that right since 1979. I want to repeat again that the Constitution that supposedly guarantees us rights, in fact, is a joke, because it does not guarantee us those rights. The only guarantee we have is when we can pay for that guarantee. And most people, including the not so poor, cannot afford to stand up for their rights with a useful lawyer. Are these truths or not?
It's a fact, sir.
Now, how can we then call ourselves democratic and we are operating a democracy? This is a lot closer to authoritarian existence. This is a lot closer to autocratic leadership. And I'm not talking about now, I'm going back to from the time we took over, but especially since 1979. So when we are fooling ourselves, we don't like to look in the mirror. We just don't like looking in the mirror. Looking in the mirror is looking at the history that you are, your past, which is your present. When you look in the mirror, you see your past and your present in that mirror. So we should look at that mirror more often than not, Tim. And we should be underscoring what freedom is about. Freedom is not given to you so you can behave like a dog. And freedom is not given to you so you can run around and just do whatever you want. Freedom, people with freedom who are free are expected to uplift themselves and everything else around them unless they are sick, crazy, or autocratic by nature.
Absolutely.
Do you remember doing an interview with Kenny Anthony right after Richard Frederick demolished all opposition in the by-election of 2006?
March 2006.
Yeah.
Well, I have conducted so many interviews, I cannot remember that particular interview.
Well, I will just, if you'll pardon me, I'll just read you a few lines from it. I believe that the Labour Party has a responsibility when it is contesting a general election, or any election for that matter, to share with the electorate its views about candidates. Did I read that slow enough?
Yes, you did.
The United Workers' Party has every right to look at the candidates of the St. Lucia Labour Party to share their views about those candidates. Character is always an issue in politics. It is always an issue to the electorate, and so I would think no one, I am saying no one because I don't want to cause a distraction. Me, that's my words, huh? I am using the words no one are my words.
Right.
I don't choose to call a name because I don't want a distraction. And so I would think no one is immune from that process. I would suggest you get... Now, Kenny Anthony also said so upon taking office in 2011, that the electorate has a duty to the country to be meticulous in the people they vote for. My addition to that as well, that charity must begin at home. Political leaders must present candidates that are not only as clean as possible, but are also open to possibly embarrassing questions about their past. Nobody wants to talk about their past, and that's dead already. If you want to go to office, you have to be open to answering questions from anyone who asks you questions about your background, or your future plans, etc., because that's what it needs if you want to represent us in Parliament.
So you're still quoting Dr. Anthony there?
No, that's me.
Okay, all right.
That's me expanding on what he said in 2011.
Yeah.
In 2011, he what's the word? Admonished. He admonished the electorate for the second time. The first was how many years earlier? 2006 and 5 years earlier. The second time he repeated himself, once a philosopher, twice a poet. He repeated himself that the electorate is shortchanging the country and in essence being traitors to the country when they don't care at all about the character of the people they put in office. And so that when, as me talking, when the characters become their true selves and turn out to be wolves that consider that the electorate as prey, P-R-E-Y, we have only ourselves to blame. Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you so much. And we'll listen our attention now to our final feature on NewsSpin for today. That is the NewsSpin news of the day. Fears are that Libya's death toll may hit 20,000. Fears are that Libya's death toll may hit 20,000. $100,000. And that's a broadcast. Thank you so much for watching on our NewsSpin Facebook page as well as on YouTube. And also thank you as well for listening on Power 97.9 FM. That's a broadcast. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.